running.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your first time here. Today we're going to be watching something that's completely new to me. I have heard so much of their music, and if their comedy is anything like I think it's going to be, then it's my kind of comedy. Thank you so much for requesting this film. I don't know that much about the Beatles. I know a few things about their careers, and so this is going to be a whole new journey for me. I will say some random things that come into my brain. That's just the way I do things here. Also, don't forget to stick around until afterwards when we check out some of the film's trivia as well. But anyway, without further ado, let's watch A Hard Day's Night from 1964. Straight in. Beatlemania back in the day. People went insane from the Beatles. I wouldn't be surprised if they just went and got a load of fans and said, just run after us, and they went, yeah, sure. I love a good bit of black and white. Handheld photography as well, looks great. Now, I'll forget which one's which. I know which one's Paul. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Like I know Paul, Ringo, George, is it? That's Paul on the left. He's in it as well, from Steptoe and Son. Oh, I like him. Harold. That's a good shot. Wait, is this King's Cross? Absolutely crazy fans were. I don't think there's anything, apart from Elvis, I don't know if there was anything since that's really stood up to that. Maybe One Direction, but not the same. That was a good transition, actually. Here he is. Here's a Paul's there on the back right, and a Ringo as well, but I don't know which one Ringo is. And it's the drummer.
Hey, pardon me for asking, but who's that little old man? What little old man?
There's no one there.
That one, that's my grandfather. Your grandfather?
Oh, right.
That's not your grandfather. I've seen your grandfather. He lives in your house. Oh, that's my other grandfather, but he's my grandfather as well. How do you reckon that one out? Well, everyone's entitled to two, aren't they? And it's my other one. We know that, but what's he doing here?
That's a good shot.
Well, my mother thought the trip would do him good.
Seeing their reflections, I like
He's
it.
nursing a broken heart. Poor old thing. Hey, mister, you nursing a broken heart?
Yeah.
He's a nice old man, isn't he? He's very clean. Hello, grandfather. Hello. He can talk then, can he? Of course he can talk. He's a human being, isn't he? Well, if he's your grandfather, who knows? I look after myself. He's a villain. A real mixer. Hiya. Hello, Shake. Hello, Shake.
Shake.
I'll be along in a minute with the tickets.
Great.
Who's the little old man?
It's Paul's grandfather.
Oh, I but I thought so.
Yeah, he's not really his grandfather.
Oh, that's his other one.
Oh, that's all right then.
Clean though, isn't he?
Oh, aye, he's very clean.
Who's the old man?
Let's all try to behave like ordinary, respectable citizens.
I love that he's got the old Pentax. I've got one similar up there.
We'll pull any strokes, do anything I'm going to be sorry for. Are you listening to me, Lennon?
You're a swine.
Oh, well, he was doing the sniffing.
Hey! Who's that little old man?
Yeah.
Well, who is he?
He belongs
He's
to
just
Paul.
Paul's granddad.
I'm going down with a cup of coffee. Anyone coming?
Ooh.
I want me coffee.
Well, you can come with Shake and me if you like.
I want my coffee, please, sir.
Look after him. I don't want to find you've lost him.
Don't be cheeky. I'll bind him to me with promises. Very clean, isn't he?
That's what everybody says. Is he meant to be his granddad in this? Or is it just some guy they picked up along the way? He was on the bench with him, so I presume maybe?
Morning. All right.
He's like, oh no, boisterous boys everywhere. That's Ringo in the middle, I think.
Do you mind if we have it open?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, but there are four of us and we'd like it open. That's if it's all the same to you, that is.
Please.
So I suppose I have some rights.
So have we.
Oh dear. Oh, they are doing it on purpose.
An elementary knowledge of the Railway Act would tell you that I'm perfectly within my rights.
Yeah, but we want to hear it. We're a community, a majority vote, up the workers and all that stuff.
Then I suggest you take that damn thing some other part of the train where you obviously belong.
Give us a kiss. So we pay for our seats too, you know.
I travel on this train regularly.
Oh.
Can't win with his sort. After all, it's his train, isn't it, mister?
And don't take that tone with me.
Yes, I pay my taxes,
Fought the
sir.
war for your sort.
Yeah, see?
I bet you saw you won.
Just like that.
I shall call the guard.
They don't take kindly to insult. Come on, let's go and have some coffee. I'll leave the kennel to Lassie.
Nice bit of coffee.
Hey, mister, can we have our ball back? Keep going.
What the hell was it? What? That was brilliant. Oh, I love this already. The fact that suddenly they were off the train and then they were back. Fantastic.
I can't help being taller than you.
Have a good mind to thump you, Shake.
I wish I'd seen this before now.
He started it.
I did not, you did.
You started it.
The old fella said he had these pictures and Norm said no, and I said why not be big about it?
Your grandfather pointed out Shake was always being taller than me just to spite me.
I knew it. He started it. Should have known. You two have never had an argument in your life. And in 2 minutes flat, he's got you at it.
Yes, because of the old man.
He's a king mixer. He hates group unity, so he gets everyone at it.
And he's like,
You just give him the photos and have done with it.
oh, yes.
All right, show devil. Here you are.
Well, they photos of the band.
Would you
Oh,
ever
they
sign
are,
one
yeah.
of them for us?
Yes, I think he is playing his granddad. I just didn't know if it was a thing they were making up, and he's just a random old man.
Look at the talent. Let's give him a pull.
I know it was the way people were back then, but still.
Five bar gate jumps and over sort of stuff. What's that supposed to mean? Thought it just sounded distinguished, like George Harrison, the Scars of Distinction.
Ah, he's George, right, cool.
Excuse me, madam.
I'll learn them, I know.
These young men I'm sitting with wondered if two of us could come over and join you.
Oh, yes, pip pip.
I'm sorry, miss. You mustn't fraternise with me prisoners.
Prisoners. Cheeky old man.
Get out while you can.
Well played, sir.
Got a long time.
Who?
Paul's grandfather.
Oh, I didn't notice. Where'd he go?
Down the,
Oh, down the,
down the,
Down the train, down the loo. Hey, have you seen your old man?
Have you seen Paul's grandfather?
Of course he's concealed about me person.
Now, he must have slipped off somewhere.
Have you lost him?
Now, don't exaggerate.
You've lost him!
Look, put it this way, Paulie. He's mislaid him.
Mislaid him? He's a person.
Come, Ed, let's look up the sharp end.
It's his grandfather. I can tell he doesn't like me. It's because I'm little. Now you've got an inferiority complex.
Oh yeah, he is smaller. I never noticed that.
That's why I play the drums. It's my active compensatory factor.
Okay, so that must be Ringo then, because I think it was George that was the only one I didn't really know who that was. Oh, then I'm trying to remember the other one's name. There was Paul, Ringo, George, and... Who, me? John Lennon, yeah.
Join in then.
No, she'll only reject me in the end and I'll be frustrated.
You never know. You may be lucky.
No, I know the psychological pattern. It plays havoc with me drumskins.
Excuse me. Have you seen that little old man we were with?
Broken out, the blessed freedom of these handcuffs are killing me. I was named a innocent. I don't want to go.
Oh, the girls went nuts over the Beatles.
I bet you can't guess what I was in for.
Obviously, we don't understand it now, really,
Gonna broaden my outlook.
because they were boisterous.
Congratulate me, boys. I'm engaged.
Oh, no, you're not. Not this time.
Now they put him in.
Put me behind bars.
They put him in a cage.
At least I can keep my eye on you while you're stuck in here.
He's just trying to have his way. He's just trying to have a little bit of a fling with a lady.
Odds or evens?
Odds. I'm gonna get you the best lawyer green stamps can buy.
It's a laugh line with Lennon.
God, it's depressing in here, isn't it? They usually reckon dogs.
Aww, little doggy.
Let's do something then. Oh, there's the girls. I'll do them.
Aye, the Liverpool shuffle.
They're just going to somehow whip out instruments now. I said I've heard all their songs, but I don't remember this one. I probably have. Yeah, now they've got the instruments. The shots in this are like when they're doing their artsy shots. Kind of love this. They look great. But I think that with black and white photography, so... Very talented people. Obviously, I know they're not playing it live there, but they might be. The floppy hair. So the musical scenes are sort of intercut, but haven't really happened. I suppose most musicals are like that, to be fair. Comes back to the story and no one thinks they've been singing, so...
They've gone potty out there. The place is surging with girls.
Please, sir, can I have one to surgery, sir?
That's good. amount of black cabs they've got. We struggle enough to get one. They are cabs, aren't they? Yeah, they are. Struggle enough to get one cab now. Oh, that's genius. They're using the cabs so they're going to get the girls in there and then drive off, just to stop them from getting to their car. It didn't stop them very well, did it? Yeah, is that St. Pancras? If I remember, I'll look it up. Oh, the Beatles' life. Not just girls, there are boys there as well.
I don't snore.
You do, repeatedly.
Do I snore, John?
Yeah, you're a window rattler, son.
With a trombone hooter like yours, it'd be unnatural if you didn't.
No, Paulie, don't mock the afflicted.
It's only a joke.
But it's his nose. He can't help having a hideous great hooter. And the poor little head trembling under the weight of it.
It's funny, it slightly reminds me of my granddad, who was Irish as well.
Thanks for caught up with us at last. None for me, then.
Amounts of fans letters they've got.
It's your nose, you know. Fans are funny that way. They take a dislike to things. They'll pick on a nose.
Oh, you pick on your nose.
No, they're for Ringo.
All of those, just
Must have cost you a fortune in stamps, Ringo. He comes from a large family.
for Ringo, just those.
What's the Circle Club? It's pleasure in requesting the company of Mr. Richard Starkey to their gaming rooms.
Mr. Richard Starkey.
They're not going.
Is that his real name? Not Ringo?
Quite right. Invites to gambling dens full of easy money and fast women. Disgusting.
Yeah, he's going to hide it and then go, I like it. Better the fast women I do.
I want this lot answered tonight.
He'll go himself.
You couldn't get a pen in your foot, you swine.
A touch of the writer's cramp will soon sort you out.
I'll be able to reply back to all of those.
Where are you going then? Well, he told us to stay, did he?
So I'm going out. Completely contradict him.
I'll clear up, too.
Yeah.
Oh, is he going to steal the jacket? You going to knock him out with the tray? See, this is how people should be now when they go out dancing. Like, in full suits and stylish. I mean, some do, but... The thing is, women tend to dress really well when they go clubbing. Men wear t-shirts and jeans. Some wear shirts. Oh, there. He's got the lady and everything.
Hello, monsieur.
Souffle.
Souffle?
I bet you're a great swimmer. My turn. Bingo.
Pa bingo, monsieur.
I know why he said souffle because of the Irish thing, because of the French thing. There's no winning. Oh, he's pretending to be a waiter. Cheeky buck. The guy behind him saw him. Come on.
Close your eyes.
That was genius, though. Love the 60s music. She likes him. Then again, most women did seem to, so. I love it. I kind of hope that when they were filming, those two were just extras, and he just came over and just started dancing with them, because he genuinely seems really happy, that guy.
All my love.
And maybe this was even filmed with real people, not with actors. I don't know. He's like, get out. You're not meant to be clubbing, meant to be staying in the room. His psychic guy's dancing as well. Enjoying himself. Yep, he stole his clothes. Yeah, he did. Oh, mate, don't worry. It's not your fault. Oh, no, don't hide in there.
Now, come here, you lot. Get on with it. Now.
It's going to be a guy in there. Just grabs it for him.
Hey,
There's a guy in the closet.
you lot for the man in the cupboard. Somebody did.
What?
He's right, you know.
He's going to frighten the hell out of him.
Hey, what's all this?
Oh, him, he's been lurking. He looks a right lurker, doesn't he?
You're undressed. Where are your clothes?
They're making out as if he's a weirdo.
Well, the old gentleman, he borrowed them to go gambling.
He's gone to my club, has he?
Yeah.
It's all your fault. Getting invites to gambling clubs. Probably in the middle of some orgy by now.
It's not his fault.
You're too old.
No, he meant clothes.
Lord John McCartney, the millionaire Irish peer. Filthy rich, of course.
He looks quite clean to me.
Try to act with a bit of decorum.
Members and invited guests.
I'm Ringo's sister.
You look lovely.
Oh, he's at it again. Look, I'm his grandfather.
I'm his grandson, yeah.
Who are these ruffians?
I'll take care of that. £80? I beg your pardon?
Oof.
Your winnings, my lord, £190.
No.
Well, let me change.
Cloakroom charge?
Oh, well, easy come, easy go.
At least he made the money back, so he doesn't owe him anything. That's something I'd do.
Good morning, mein Herr. Haben Sie noch einen Tee haben?
Who is that?
Ah, Sie sind die Engländer.
Is that
Keep Britain tiny.
John? It's John.
A grown man and you haven't shaved with a safety razor.
It's not my fault. I come from a long line of electricians.
Well, you're not practicing on me.
Oh, okay. I've got to say, I don't think this is something I've ever done.
Britannia rules the...
Put your tongue away.
Ah, you've cut my tongue.
Slip of the razor.
Help me! Headphones! Help me! Help!
You can't say that that's the...
Where's John?
In the bath.
All right, Lena, let's have you.
You can't say...
Stop larking about.
Is he okay? Is he passed out in the bath?
John. John.
What? Where did it go?
What are you messing around with that boat for?
How did it get out of the bath? What?
Ready, John? As soon as we draw, open that door and straight in.
Oh, I was about to say they're going to go in there, in that tent thing. Yeah. Brilliant idea. It was a real thing. I thought it was put there for them. It was a real workers' hut thing.
Where have you been? It's your press conference we're arranging.
Oh, it's all hoity-toity. We've got the tiny sandwiches with all the crusts cut off, probably. And the martinis flowing. God. All the tofty-toffs.
I never noticed his nose till about 6 months ago. And my mother asked me before I left for America if I wanted any sandwiches. Oh, when I plugged her in, she just blew up.
What? I like that. That's a good...
Tell me, how did you find America?
It's a good effect.
Turn left to Greenland.
I was going to say, I took a plane, boat.
Are you a mod or a rocker?
No, I'm a mocker.
That's good.
Have you any hobbies?
It's the first time I've heard that.
Do you think these haircuts have come to stay?
Well, this one has, you know. Stuck on good and proper now.
What would you call that hairstyle?
Arthur.
What do you call that collar?
A collar.
Collar.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a collar, I thought.
Do you often see your father? No, actually, we're just good friends.
How do you like your girlfriends to dress?
Clothes? Getting very bored of it. No, what are they doing? They're going to start playing music?
Didn't even get a jam butty.
Just escaping. They're sat there drinking and eating.
Hey, George, give it to your John Henry on that picture.
Hey, look at that. It's all set down there. Oh, should we go down? Have a go? Yeah, there's not a fellas for one set.
Wait, did they call it John Henry back then for a signature? I thought it was always John Hancock. Or have I got that completely wrong?
Where are they?
Causing havoc.
Leave them drums alone. You so much as breathe heavy on them.
Aren't you being rather arbitrary?
Hiding behind a smokescreen of bourgeois cliches. I don't go messing about with your earphones, do I?
Spoil sport.
It's like headphones, actually.
He's very fussy about his drums, you know. They loom large in his legend. Oh, he's sulking again. I'll show him.
If I fell in love with you.
I like the way they've intertwined the songs.
If I give.
I wasn't sure how they would put them in. Must have taken them forever to shoot this, though. The multiple angles. But then again, some of the angles could be the actual cameras that were there in the room, so...
Oh, please.
That one's very far away. He's doing it on purpose. So the other guys come and fix it. I like his guitar, by the way. I think it might be the bass guitar. Paul's one. Yeah, Paul's one.
I'd like more drums. No, the third bit, the more bang.
If you think I'm unsuitable, let's have it out in the open. I can't stand these backstage politics.
So, but I don't like your jumper.
Well, quite honestly, I wasn't expecting a musical arranger to question my ability picture-wise.
We weren't expecting a bear.
What's all this about a musical arranger?
Mr. McCartney, Sr.
Hey, Paulie, they're trying to fob you.
What's he doing now?
Musical charlatan. But I gave him the test.
I'm quite happy to be replaced.
The musical charlatan.
I won an award.
A likely story.
Was it an award for hairiest jumper?
You don't need them. I'll lock them up in the dressing room.
Please do. I'll not need them for half an hour. Have me a bottle of milk and some tranquilizers. I see it all now. It's a plot. A plot.
He thinks a lot of himself. Yeah, tranquilizers. The boys just want to use their...
Oh, Mac, break and go.
They just want to use their instruments.
Leslie Jackson, I saw your father in the old Empire in 1909. If you're as good as him, son, you're all right.
I can't find my gloves. He killed the bird. Oh, doves! I saw them as gloves! Oh.
New costume.
What twit?
Swab.
Cheeky.
Oh, I like his hat.
Come on, lads. First floor and no messing about. Lennon, put them girls down or I'll tell your mother of you. Stay in here until that rehearsal. Key and turn it.
Oh no. Don't escape already. It's like trying to keep toddlers in one place. Constantly watch what they're doing. Pamela. I've seen bits of their videos, music videos, where they do the sped up running thing. It's a great shot, actually. Very shaky. But nuts. Absolutely nuts. Much for money, money can't buy me love. This is the thing that I think the interview that I saw was something to do with Monty Python, I believe. Did they know each other? Were they fans of each other? I'm sure that was the thing I read. Because I could imagine them all getting along very well with each other. This isn't... Oh, those shots are great. It's just... This scene is so manic, but brilliant. Boys having fun.
I suppose you realise this is private property.
No. It's the local school grounds, probably.
Sorry we hurt your field, mister.
Not here.
Where have you been?
Probably gone to the canteen. Cup of tea, like.
No, that's too easy for Lennon.
Yep, they've escaped. Fully.
He's out there somewhere. Causing trouble. Just to upset me.
You're imagining it, Norm. You're letting it prey on your mind.
No, this is a battle of nerves between John and me.
Or was he always fighting against him?
I've toyed with the idea of a ball and chain. It just rattled them at me, and in public too. Sometimes I think he enjoys seeing me suffer.
No, look, they're back.
Hello.
Oh, wait a minute. Don't
No, no.
Oh, it's her! She's in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
You look just like him.
Do I? You're the first one that said that ever.
Look. Oh, yes, I do, yeah.
No, my eyes are lighter. Oh, you know I'm better though.
What have you heard?
It's all over the place. I stuck up for you.
I knew I could rely on you.
Wait, it is you.
You don't look like him at all.
She looks more like him than I do.
She was saying that he doesn't look anything like himself. I hadn't caught the bit right at the start of our conversation.
I think he'll be very pleased with you.
Really?
Who?
Yes, you're quite a feather in the cap. I've got one.
Like he just caught
Oh,
a
I think so.
thing.
Yes, he can talk.
Hopefully, if he's not awestruck with you.
Come on.
Sorry.
Eyes up.
You don't see many of these nowadays, do you?
It's an art installation. Always causing havoc.
Not really bad. Turn around, cheeky baby.
Oh God, no! He doesn't realise.
All right, Sonny Jim, this is all going to be quite painless. Don't breathe on me, Adrian.
Is he trying to tell him he's a Beatle?
You can come off it with us. You don't have to do all the old adenoidal glottal stop and carry on for our benefit.
He thinks he's the model.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
He's a natural.
Well, I did tell them not to send us real ones.
They ought to know by now the phonies are much easier to handle. Still, he's a good type. We'd like you to give us your opinion on some clothes for teenagers.
I'd be quite prepared for that eventuality.
He is pretty stylish, to be fair.
It'll be written out and you'll learn it. Can he read?
Of course I can.
Can you handle lines?
Well, I'll have a bash.
Good. Give him
Yeah.
whatever it is they drink. A Coke-a-rama?
What's a Coke-a-rama? Is that just a Coke?
Now, you'll like these.
Not bad.
You'll really dig them. They're fab and all the other pimply hyperbole.
Oh, down with the kids, yeah.
The dead grotty.
Grotty?
Yeah, grotesque.
Make a note of that word and give it to Susan.
How I not realised that's what grotty means. grotesque.
Valueless opinion when I know for a fact that within a month he'll be suffering from a violent inferiority complex and loss of status. Of course they're grotty, you wretched nit. That's why they were designed, but that's what you'll want.
I won't.
Why were they designed to be grotty? That's the fashion industry, I suppose.
If you don't cooperate, you won't meet Susan.
And who's this Susan when she's at home?
Our resident teenager. You'll have to love her. She's your symbol.
Oh, you mean that posh bird who gets everything wrong?
I beg your pardon.
Frequently sit round the television and watch her for a giggle. Wrote these letters saying how gear she was and all that rubbish.
She's a trendsetter. It's her profession.
She's a drag. Turn the sound down on her and say rude things.
Right, pain.
Get him out of here.
Sorry about the shirt.
Get him out! You don't think he's a new phenomenon, do you?
You mean an early clue to the new direction?
Yeah.
Where's the calendar?
They are utterly clueless.
The change isn't due for 3 weeks yet. So let's not take any unnecessary chances.
Speaking of thingy earlier, Chee Chee Bang Bang, very similar outfits. But
Man, she's right.
what are you doing? He's always up to no good. Like granddad, like grandson, eh? What? Oh, is he signing? He's forging their signatures for him.
There's no one here.
No one here.
But why? To save them doing the work. No. He's like, not yet. They've ruined. No. Right in the middle of the broadcast. I thought they were just filming it, but they're actually
That's wrong, isn't it?
broadcasting it, aren't they?
Get him out!
Oh, let's hope they are just recording.
Someone coming. Wait. Stop being taller than me.
It's not life.
He's tiny in comparison.
What are you doing here?
Hiding.
Well, we weren't hiding, we were resting.
Of course you were.
But when I say stay put, I mean stay put.
Don't cane me, sir. I was led astray.
Oh, shut up, John.
It was the other boys that did it, I swear.
Gee, I'm down to do a bit of work.
Oh, listen to teacher's pet. All that.
Take the class out. I'll lay off.
Temper.
Will you get a move on?
Ringo seems like the real, almost puppy dog of them.
I now declare this bridge open.
Oh, that was brilliant.
Where are they? Where are they?
They're coming.
He's going absolutely nuts.
They're coming, I promise you.
Ah, yes.
If they aren't on this floor in 30 seconds, there'll be trouble. Understand me?
Yes.
Trouble.
You'll start shedding.
Standing about, eh? Some people have it dead easy.
Once you're over 30, you're past it. It's a young man's medium. I just can't stand the pace.
Oh, you're as young as that then?
I was.
Once you're over 30, you're past it. Speak for yourself.
His wife doesn't know about her. I bet he hasn't even got a wife. Look at his sweater. You never know, she might have knitted it. She knitted him.
Three, coming to. 3.
We're on 3.
It's interesting seeing the old galleries. You might not know, but that's what this area is usually called in studios. Apologies that I will have to mute most of these.
I know this love.
Yeah, he never seems to cause trouble, Ringo. He always just seems to be there, just like following along everybody. Doop, 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 doop. That's a nice shot. The reflection.
This love of mine.
That's a good shot. Oh, look at that. I love using lights when I do shoots like this.
Thank you. Very nice.
Powder them off. The shine, you know.
Sure.
Norm's about at his wit's end.
Hey, grandfather's not talking to me. I think he's got a sulk on.
Must be catching on. He's giving it to Ringo here.
Stop picking on
I
the
don't
couch.
need you to
Aw.
protect me, you know, no.
Exactly, don't pick on Ringo.
Matter to them, whether they made up or not.
He's gone.
My name's Betty.
Do you want to punch up your frog tunic?
Shay, take that wig off. It suits you.
It suits you. So,
Ringo, what are you up to?
Page 5. You always fancied yourself as a guardsman.
where are you up to? Page 5. That's good.
Too solid flesh wouldn't melt. Hey, he's reading the Queen. That's an in-joke, you know.
Reading the Queen and looks like a Queen's Guard.
Supposed to be getting a change of scenery, and so far I've been in a train and a room, and a car and a room, and a room and a room. Well, maybe that's all right for a bunch of powdered gewgaws.
What a clean old man.
Who does it?
The older generation leading this country to galloping ruin.
What's a pretty girl like you doing in a place like this?
Well, she's got a bit of a bowl cut.
I say, did you go to Harrods? I was there in 58, you know.
Oh, lovely.
My place.
Oh, they're always trying to get their way with women. They are the makeup artist, at least. Oh my god, what is he doing? I hope they weren't shooting that. It just ruined the shots.
Well, why don't we do the show right here? Yeah!
Well, they got a beetle. They got Beatles in the background. I like that shot. I wanna hold your hand. It's not that song. If I were the people in the background, I'd just be dancing along to the song. I mean, you can see why people just went for the Beatles, because they are so charming. Boisterous as hell, but they're just having fun.
Very good, that, George.
It was very, very good.
Oh, we're trying. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely trying.
You've got about an hour, but don't leave the theatre.
Oh, they're going to leave the theatre.
Show me a stamp collection. So's mine.
John, I'm talking to you. This final run-through is important.
I haven't got any stamps.
I want a cup of tea.
I've got to adjust the decibel.
Why did he snort at him?
Ringo, look after him, will you?
All right, Norm.
Do I have to raise my voice? Come on, Grandad.
Now he's being the babysitter for him. Oh, what's he going to get up to now? Oh, no. Just that little bit of extra bit of blood there to the old wound.
Sitting there with his hooter scraping away at that boog.
What's the matter with that?
It's better than it would be these days. It'd be a phone nowadays, but
You can learn from books.
books are good.
Sheep's heads.
Sheep's head. My dad says that.
When you're not pumping them pagan skins, you're tormenting your eyes with that rubbish.
These shots are really good. Like the ones going across the room.
Parading the streets, trailing your coat, living.
I am living.
That's what he does do.
When was the last time you gave a girl a pink-edged daisy?
He probably does do that. He's really kind.
When did you last embarrass a Sheila with your cool appraising stare?
Bit old for that sort of chat.
All you've got is that book.
Books.
Oh, stop picking on me as bad as the rest of them.
Yeah.
So you are a man after all. Do you think I wasn't aware of the drift?
I feel like I'm a bit like Ringo, the whole photography thing, and they're really sort of, oh, everyone picks on me. Just calm, relaxed.
And where'd they be without the steady support of your drum beat? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, they wouldn't be anywhere. They'd just have a guitar.
What's in it for me?
Oh, God.
A boog.
Stuff books.
He out there betraying a rich American waiter.
Don't turn him into
Yeah, funny, really.
same as the rest.
Being middle-aged and old takes up most of your time, doesn't it?
You're only right.
He's doing the eyes thing. The oh, me.
Where you going?
I'm going parading before it's too late.
Did he just do what I think he did to him?
You know what just happened to me? No, I don't. You want to stop looking so scornful, it's twisting your face. Tell him up the story about that. Hello, here he is, the middle-aged boy wonder. Hey, I thought you were looking after the old man.
I was.
Well, he can't walk out on us now.
Well.
Can't he? He's done it, son.
He's doing it.
Your grandfather, he stirred him up. He filled his head with notions.
Don't you start going after her.
Come on, we'll have to put him right.
The hairdressers are so big, they're whacking the lights.
Split up and look for him. We've become a limited company. I'll look in here again.
It's just the three of you at the moment. See, this is me. This is what I do. Just go around doing some street photography. Ringo, you're a good man. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Did he not think that people would be after him? I didn't think. Gonna buy a disguise? We buy anything, please don't sell your camera. Okay, good. Great disguise, it probably isn't gonna work. The copper's gonna think you're... no.
Hello there.
Get out of it, Shorty.
The copper's gonna think you're up to no good. Just accosting a woman in the middle of the street. Good thing is nobody recognises him though. This is totally me. This is sort of stupid thing I'd be doing. Then the camera falls in the water. Yeah. Yeah. Oh no. You've ruined it. Get it out, quick. I don't think it'll be any good now. Oh god, the policeman again. Don't throw the... He's gonna arrest him.
Southerner? Hoop, that isn't a hoop, it's a lethal weapon. Have you got a license for it?
Oh, don't be so stroppy.
Well, how old are you anyway?
11?
I bet you're only 10 and a half.
10 and 2/3.
Oh, he's a proper Londoner from back in the day, isn't he? Sounds like me when I was a kid.
Why aren't you
you at school?
I'm deserter.
Just you.
Ginger, Eddie Fallon, and Ding Dong.
It's his mates' names.
What's cop without him, isn't it?
Oh, it's alright. Ginger's mad.
Why do I get the feeling that he's making friends with the kid, but Copper's gonna see it in a minute and be like, what are you doing?
I'm a deserter too.
Hey, Charlie!
Our best friends in the Beatles. See, he's just having a good stroll, relaxing.
Number 7, your time's up.
I'm sorry, boys, I didn't mean it.
Why is he fixing a plug in the background?
If he says that again, I'll strike him.
Oh, don't worry, the good lads, they'll be back.
Yes, we'll be only 20 minutes to the final run-through.
Don't worry. They can do it live. They'll be fine.
It'll be wine, women and song all the way with Ringo when he gets the taste for it.
That was fresh this morning.
Lovely. Oh, it's a proper East End pub. They don't look like people you want to mess with. They got a budgie in the corner. Oh, they'll put it there. Why have they even got a swing ball thing in the middle of the... Did they have them in pubs back in the day? They might. Maybe they did. Oh, God, oh no. I could see it either doing that or going in his drink. Or killing the bird. Oh, right, okay, hit that.
Right. On your way, troublemaker.
Bless him, he always gets... He always gets the short end of the straw, doesn't he? He's all of this stuff is accumulated and he's gonna be like, oh, it's that guy again. Troublemaker. Arrest him.
2 minutes to the final run-through. They're bound to miss it.
Wouldn't do to miss the show, like, would it?
Shut up, careful.
Oh, no, look, don't worry.
Wait, is it 2 minutes before the actual thing?
If they don't turn up, I wouldn't be in your shoes.
For all the tea in China.
Yeah. Or all the jumpers in Britain.
You traitor.
Well, of course.
Here they are.
Hi, John. John! Did you want something? Oh, I could eat the lot of you. You look great with an apple in your
Thanks.
It's the final run-through.
Where's Ringo, though?
Oh, there's only 3 of them.
We realised he must have come back here.
Will you wait? An audience in 45 minutes and you're 1 short.
Oh, they're not going to get someone else to pretend to be him, are they?
Shake.
Yes.
Whatever you do, don't get Shake to be him.
Don't worry about him, Paul. He can look after himself.
Personally signed and handed.
No, that's what he was doing. Forging the signatures to sell... Forged photos. Oh, no. So now he's going to get arrested, and so is Ringo.
Why don't you go?
You're disturbing the peace. Absolute mayhem. Oh, careful, my lady. Don't. Oh, what a gent.
Thank you.
See, again, sort of thing I would do. Very good, sir. Why is she even walking across... I know it's in the middle of a council estate, but... No!
Gotcha, you nasty little person, you.
Oh,
Ringo, stop, I've got a show to go.
that was hilarious, though. Yeah, of course you're Ringo.
Wandering abroad, malicious intent, acting in a suspicious manner. You name it, he's done it.
Oh, a little savage, is he?
Yeah.
And the man to see my solicitor.
The granddad's going to come in now, isn't he? Ringo!
Dragging me through the street.
Oh, no, it's going to be one of those nights, is
You
it?
got me here, so do your worst.
Oh my god, no. He is going to get in serious trouble. Assaulting an officer.
You have sadism stamped all over your bloated British kisser. I'll go on hunger strike. I know, you're a caper.
It's like, oh, here he goes.
What's he on about?
I'm a soldier of the Republic.
I love how he knows him, so he's just going, oh, what an idiot.
A nation once again.
Oh, Ringo, hello.
Ringo, me old scout. So they've grabbed your leg for the Arden too, have they? Have they roughed you up yet?
What's he doing with the... Has he roughed you up?
One of us has got to escape. I'll get the boys. Watch out for your brisket. All coppers are villains.
Would you two like a cup of tea?
Sly villain.
They're not villains, they're just...
Well, he was getting a bit nasty, you see.
And this is where they see the picture of Ringo in the middle of it.
It's now or never. And he'll give you a run for your 30 feet. Hey!
Come on, look at the photo. It's the only way he's ever going to get out of that situation.
I think if you could get the...
Don't draw on the monitors.
that'd fill in a bit of time.
Oh, this is, I know this song. This tune. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's a Beatles song that they've done in jazz. The beginning of it sounded really familiar, though.
So, go home.
I must see Paulie.
Go home then and see him on the telly.
Can you fix him for me?
Yeah, 6pence. Each. In advance.
Don't get... They're just going to run off as soon as you give them the money. Oh, no, they are actually doing it. Come on. Yeah, I was going to say. Turning into Benny Hill.
It's all right, leave him alone. Paul!
We found one of them.
He'll be pulled by now. Get him out. We're fixing him up.
Such an over-exaggeration, but why would they be dogs? Man, I can't buy love. Madness. Yeah, there we go. Distract him all so he can run off. That's a lovely shot. Just the setup of that. Perfect for comedy as well.
We want the money.
Oh, I've seen that shot of them running through the street. He's just hiding from the police. Why are you running back into the police station?
What is all this?
Yeah, we're right now. Thanks. Bye. Yeah, this is fantastic. Oh, I love this film. It's so stupid but brilliant. Hey, you're Nick's son. No, he just thinks he's... Oh, that's hilarious. I love the real shop owners there looking out of a window. Yeah, and the held back crowds in the background. Fantastic.
Lads, you're back, thank God. You don't know what this means to me. If you hadn't come back, it would have meant the news in Welsh.
Whatever we're going to do.
Yeah, it was the old mixer.
Here, Paulie.
Got a few words to say to you. It's not his fault he's old.
Yeah, but it's his fault that Ringo went.
You see, you know your trouble. You should have gone west to America. You would have been a senior citizen of Boston. You took a wrong turn in. What happened? You're a lonely old man from Liverpool.
Well, I'm clean.
Yeah.
I'm not taller than you are. You're smaller than I am.
Anyone at all?
I like that shot with that splitting the two.
Paul?
Absolute insanity, just from the fans. Were fans like this back in the day? Everything I've seen has been the fans going crazy like this. They're fantastic musicians. I just think it's funny the way that everyone acts to them. Oh my god! That's a lovely shot. Got the audience, the shots of them singing in time. Perfect. Oh, is he crying? Is that Ringo crying? Have they all been crying? They've all got sort of... Oh, sweat. That's what it is. Sorry. So they're all sort of really damp and wet here. You've completely messed up the exposure on that shot, love. Yeah. Yep. Sounds familiar. Oh, I know what it reminds me of.
I know you belong. I know you belong.
This whole film is like a an extended showreel for the Beatles, isn't it? Don't mind me jamming out to the Beatles. The art behind them's pretty cool. The way... So I've got to try and remember. It says Ringo, Paul, George, and John, I think. Yeah, let me know, guys, if you want me to watch the other films of theirs. I'd be really interested in seeing them. They haven't been something that I thought about watching on the channel because they're films about a band. It's a very intense shot on the face. To have to match up everything, especially that shot in the gallery with the screens and everything. He's handcuffed to him. Even they're cheering like mad. Someone's gonna pass out in a second. Yeah. How did he get out? What? How did he... Oh, I like that sign behind. The Beatles sign. Yeah, where is Grandad gone? Is he just going to start prancing across the stage? I kind of really want the audience to be a real audience. I feel like they were. There's no way that the kids would be that manic for that long if they weren't, I don't think. I'm fairly sure most kids back in the day were fanatical about the Beatles. This film must have just skyrocketed them. No, and he's appeared again. Careful, not the lead. But it's funny though. Having him just appear in the middle. Oh, I have, I think, seen... Didn't they use snippets of these shots here from their newest newest music video? Because they show the Beatles disappearing, I think it is. He's having a bloody brain aneurysm. Like, oh my god, that was so stressful.
You've got a midnight matinee.
A midnight?
You're a swine.
They are working like dogs.
Get rid of those things.
You gotta chuck them out of the door. Yep, that's a great end shot if that is the end. It is. Ooh, they've even got fancy editing on the photos at the end. I love it. Musical director George Martin. Where do I know that name from? Was he the musical director for their music as well? They're crazy. I just want to have a look at the people. Maybe I missed who they were. Oh, so Wilfrid Brambell was the name of the grandfather. So that was the guy from Steptoe. I don't know why I didn't think his name was Wilfrid Brambell, but obviously it is. Absolute madness, but I loved it. Thank you so much for requesting it. It was a really crazy film, just in general. Seeing the life of the Beatles, you know, like a little glimpse into what the Beatles' life is like in real life, but obviously it was a dramatized version of it. And seeing their wacky behavior with everything, it's so funny. And I know that obviously some of that stuff wouldn't really happen with the Beatles in real life, but they do feel like, especially from the interview that I've seen, they do feel like they are like that in real life.
The accent was the only thing, you know, it was the only difference. Lovely. Did they reckon?
And that it wasn't that much of a stretch from reality. I really enjoyed their sort of wacky humour. I know I said at one point that I feel like they would be really good friends with Monty Python. I'm sure I heard that somewhere about them being friends with Monty Python, or at least either they're fans of Python or Python are fans of the Beatles, or vice versa. But yeah, I really loved every second of that. A real big ball of fun, and I'm glad that we got a chance to watch it. And there were still some bits in there that were so well done, like cinematography stuff that was well done. For instance, the cafe scenes with the camera shots slowly zooming in across the cafe studio. I'm sure that most of that was probably made up on the spot, completely improvised, but it works so well.
And by using a multiple camera technique, I was able to allow people the freedom to move, to go where they want as far as possible. No mark should be given to anybody. No one should have to hit a mark or sit to the center of their chairs. It was just, you do what you want to do, we'll go out in the field and have a play, and then we would find a way to turn it into a little sequence.
There was one thing I heard about this film. People were saying, okay, don't worry, it's fine. When this Beatles film goes out, their fame will die off in, a little while. It'll be fine. But it's so interesting that they just assumed that they were just a passing fad and that they were their fame was just gonna go. I suppose like most bands, most things that people fall in love with and just adore non-stop, they do die off and they do, fall out of love with these things. So I can kind of see what they mean, but I don't feel like the Beatles would have been one of those things, especially with how crazy everyone was going for them.
What was a very pleasant surprise to all of us was that the film critics, the more serious film critics, as well as the kind of music writers, the pop writers, the rock journalists, that the serious film critics took the film seriously and began to talk in terms of the actual film value. One
of the scenes that sticks in my mind, and it's not a funny scene or whatever scene, it kind of sticks out to me because visually it looks pretty cool. It's the scene of all the taxis lined up and they then get into the taxis and then jump out the other side again. So all of the fans jump into those taxis and then they're able to just drive off with barely any fans around them, so they're not surrounding the car or anything, because they're all in the taxis. I want to find out if that is King's Cross or maybe St Pancras that they're in specifically on that scene, or another train station. I'm fairly sure it's a London train station, seeing as they're in London later on. I think Paddington has an area similar to that as well.
Editor Marty here, hello. It seems that the train station scenes were filmed at a few separate places. So the shots that are done for the film itself are shot at Marylebone Station in London. That's, as far as I know, all the exterior shots you see and some of the interior shots where you see them running up to the train, etc. I believe that's all Marylebone. However, then when it comes to them filming in the train, apparently word was spread that they were going to be there and fans turned up the day they were filming within the train itself. One of the things to back up that the fans were there the day that they were going to film is that there's a bit of footage of that.
The location, Paddington Station in London, where the real business of movie making begins.
Now elsewhere it says they weren't going to be filming there, however the bit of footage that I found shows them setting up lights, etc, so I don't know. The main bit of information I heard was that filming at Paddington Station and then Acton Station was done for the train journey itself. The reason why it went to Acton afterwards is because Paddington Station got so overwhelming on the first day that they then realised they needed to switch to Acton for the other days, and then in the evenings they were met by chauffeurs at smaller suburban stations. So yeah, Marylebone Station for most of it, and then Paddington Station was where they went on the journeys, etc. Hopefully I got all the information correct. Please feel free to correct me in the comments though if I got anything wrong. Anyway, back to the video.
Well, as an overview of my first time watching a Beatles film, I loved it. Absolutely balmy, crazy as hell, but it's so fun and I love it. I'd watch it again in an instant. It's just a big ball of wacky fun. And yes, their comedy is completely off the wall and there's a lot of one-liner type jokes in there, and there was a couple of scenes where it was almost strung back to back, especially the scene where they're having martinis and cocktail type stuff, or at least everyone else is. They're not, because they didn't get a chance. That specific scene, there's a lot of that happening, and the dressing room scene. Oh, one of the funny parts with Grandad is the bit when he's in the casino, or that you know, the gambling area, and he puts the serviette type thing over his arm and goes over to the guy and takes his tokens and then proceeds to use them himself. So good. The visual humor of something like that is so funny. He doesn't have to say a lot. It's just funny. He's just sitting there like, well, I need some more of these, so I know what I'll do. Grab this. Grab them, back again. So funny. I think what I'll do is if I think of anything else, then I'll say in between bits of trivia, but I feel like now we should jump into the trivia. I always love doing this bit because it gives me so much information, background information on what I've just seen. During the opening sequence of the group running, George stumbles and falls and Ringo falls over him. This wasn't intended and George rips the suit he was wearing. No. So I didn't see the ripped suit. I don't know where the suit was ripped because this is just all one shot. They fall over, they all get back up again, and that's a fantastic shot at the beginning. Apparently he quickly recovered, laughed and continued to run. It was decided to retain the shot in the film. I don't believe that they don't make reference to him having ripped his suit, do they? Do they just brush over it and you don't see that his suit's ripped after that? Having not known that he ripped his suit, I didn't look out for that. So oh, John Lennon's written answer to the female reporter asking him if he had any hobbies is the word well, John Lennon. Due to the way that YouTube is, I will be censoring that. So apparently United Artists, I was going to say. I might keep that in the video. United Artists executives didn't really care about the movie itself. They were mainly interested in exploiting a legal loophole which would allow them to distribute the lucrative soundtrack album. In fact, they were fully expected to lose money on the movie, with a final cost of about $500,000 and a box office take of about $8 million in the first week alone. This movie is amongst the most profitable percentage-wise movies of all time. What did I say? I said this I feel would be a huge hit, not just because people who love film, people just in general that love their music. In the cinema, the Beatles film, oh my god, my favourite band, there's a film out. But then you've also got the soundtrack that's then released along with it, which would have made even more money. This is interesting. So I don't know if it's that IMDb's fact trivia area has got the name wrong, or if it's the fact that the credits got his name wrong. I believe it's probably the IMDb has got the name wrong, but the IMDb name does link to someone, which is confusing. So this is about the little boy that Ringo meets. And it says, well, the bit that I was trying to say about is they say his name's David Jansen. And as I pointed out as I was looking at the trivia, his name is David Jackson, like Jaxon. But here it says David Jansen. Yeah, I just checked it again. It is David Jackson in the film. He had a different name. It's the same guy. I wonder why. Maybe there was another David Jansen. There's probably no reason for it. But yes, the fact about David Jackson is the tyre Ringo trips over in the riverbank scene had to be thrown again and again as it kept rolling incorrectly. Finally, after numerous wasted takes, it was offered to young actor David Jackson on hand to play the young boy Ringo meets. Jackson rolled the tyre correctly on the first try. That's because he was a kid and he probably did that in his daily life. It just makes more sense. Said again, some production guy off camera to be like, let's roll a tyre towards him. Whereas if you get the kid to do it, nearly the same height as the tyre anyway, so you can probably do it easier. Wait, I didn't know this. The title track was written entirely in one sitting by John Lennon on April 13th, 1964.
You know, the title song is one that we particularly like because we put it on our new single record. John and I wrote this especially for the film because, I mean, with a title like that, you couldn't write it for anything else, I don't think.
The night of the day, he had filmed the iconic bathtub scene. I love that bathtub scene. The fact that he's in there 1 second and then beep, he's not in there. He goes, John. And he searches in there and he's not there. He's nowhere to be found. So funny. Within the reality, if that was real, it's like, huh? We just saw him in the bathtub. But it's funny. Apparently after Sir Ringo Starr coined the phrase, John and Sir Paul McCartney basically raced to see who would come up with a song for the phrase and movie title first for A Hard Day's Night. Right. The scene with him being forlorn in the riverside scene for Ringo Starr, apparently he was praised for the solo scene, but his expression in that scene is apparently because it was the result of him being severely hungover after a previous night of heavy drinking. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that is hilarious. Really praised over that, and he was actually just really, really ill from being hungover. No. Before the movie was released in America, United Artists executive asked director Richard Lester to dub the voices of the group with mid-Atlantic accents. Sir Paul McCartney angrily replied, "Look, if we can understand a..." I'm gonna say it and then I'll censor it when I do the editing. "Look, if we can understand a cowboy talking Texan, they can understand us talking Liverpool." Terrible accent, my version of it, but that's quite funny. I completely understand him. Don't go trying to change the accent. It's the same with, what was it, Mad Max, when they tried to do that with that film, or they did it with that film. Like, why? People can understand and just adjust the way you're listening to it if you need to, but they're still talking English. It's not like they're talking another language and you've got to dub it because of that reason. It just blows my mind.
We showed it to the executives who flew in. One of them did say, as you knew they would say, it's fine, but we have to revoice the voices because nobody will understand them. That was absolute truth, and most of them agreed with it, and I threw a fit. And so it didn't happen.
I've got to admit that one of my favourite things about that film was it made me realise that I'm very much a Ringo Starr. I like to play the drums. I can't play them too well, but I can play the drums at least. I love photography, and yeah, his personality is very much me. Oh, it says here though, and I feel like this is putting Ringo down a bit. It says here he's dim-witted and sad. No, he's just like a really lovable guy. He seems so lovely. Writer Alan Owen put together the plot of the movie while following the Beatles around on their tour of France before they went to America. From observing them, he created their stereotypes. John is a smartass, Paul is cute and sensible, George is quiet and shy, and Ringo is dim-witted and sad. He also picked up their manners of speech and their daily routines, hence why he was able to write them quite well, with which he created the plot. Despite the comic elements, it really was a day in the life look at the Beatles, which is fascinating. Yes, so I had to look up about the whole Python thing. Apparently the Beatles were big Python fans, George Harrison told Eric Idle that Monty Python sort of took over from the Beatles. George was a big fan and funded and was briefly in Life of Brian, was he? I did not know that he was in Life of Brian. Love Life of Brian. His film production company was also produced The Time Bandits. Holy no. Time Bandits is on my list. I have a copy of Time Bandits and we're meant to be watching it at some point on the channel. Sometime soon as well. It's on my list. That's so funny. Everything I've been watching recently is just kind of all tied together with each other. Yeah, apparently there's a tiny cameo reel in the film as owner of the Mount, Mr. Papadopoulos. Oh, I remember seeing Mr. Papadopoulos in there. Mr. P shakes hands with Brian, Graham Chapman, in one scene. Has a single word of dialogue in the film, a decidedly Scouse hello. Okay, so I looked up Ringo Starr's real name to see if that was his real name that they used in the film at one point. I presume it was well known by fans that that wasn't his real name. His real name is Richard Starkey. So apparently when he was featured in the Rory and the Hurricanes band, Richard Starkey became Ringo Starr professionally. His friends still call him by his birth name, but the world knows him as the famous drummer Ringo Starr. He became known as Rings, R-I-N-G-S, because he wore large rings. Rings changed into Ringo because it was easier to say. The Star, with a double R, came because Ringo did a solo spot with Rory Storm's Hurricanes. So he actually rechristened himself as Ringo Starr in the end. Did you maybe grow up with the Beatles music being a big popular thing and you loved them back then and you were a fan of them? What did you think back then even when this released? Did you watch it back then in the cinemas? Did you watch it in cinemas as it was coming back to theatres? Because that would be so cool to see. Here we go. So this is about the whole grotty word, because I kept thinking in my head when they said the grotty thing, I went, wait, is that what grotty actually means? Grotesque? Because I felt like they wouldn't have made it up for the film and that it would have actually been what grotty means. I've just known grotty as grotty. I've never thought it stood for anything. I know what it means. I didn't think it stood for anything, as in being a shortened word of something. Apparently screenwriter Alan Owen claimed that the word grotty was a word used in Liverpool to mean grotesque, but the Beatles had never heard it before and believed Owen made it up. It subsequently passed into general usage, and linguists certainly cite the Beatles as the popularisers of the word in the early 1960s and trace its origins to Liverpool. Wait, have I been saying grotty all these years and it actually is credited to original use of being from the Beatles? Alan Owen, was it originally the Beatles or Alan Owen, sorry, that came up with it? That blows my mind. When it comes to a word that, just a general word that, yeah, okay, I haven't used it massively over the years, but I've never thought that it was in relation to the Beatles. It unconsciously echoes Middle English grotty, G-R-O-T-I, muddy, slimy, from Old English grottig, meaning earthy, from grot, which is particle. So it does originally come from Old English. Anyway, apparently, according to Norman Rossington, in the scene where John Lennon takes the scissors and cuts the tailor's tape and says, "I now declare this bridge open.
I now declare this bridge open."
John improvised other versions, substituting synagogue, fish and chips stands, etc. for bridge. The tailor in the scene is actually the Beatles' real tailor. That's so funny. I like that. Great that they could have a laugh with them and it's their actual tailor. No! Apparently the train sequence was their first day of shooting, and the first whole day of the original shooting was lost because the clapper loader was mistaken by fans at the station for one of the Beatles. In running away from the screaming fans, he dropped the cans of negative. No, that's awful. So heart-wrenching as well. They would have done all that work and then had to redo it. At least they'd have had a proper run-through. I felt like it was a proper run-through because it was meant to be. Although all those quips would have just been lost because it had already been done once. John Lennon was not in the scene of the Beatles running and playing in the field. He was away promoting his new book, John Lennon in His Own Right. A body double filled in for John, and close-up shots of him were edited into the scene later. I also wonder if that's the reason why they decided to shoot it from the high above angle, just to stop you noticing that it wasn't him, so they could have a run round and have a laugh. Very creative if that was their get around for it not actually being him, especially because back then the footage wouldn't have looked so clear, because I'm actually watching the 1080p Blu-ray version of it. But back in the day, that would have been fairly hard to see. You wouldn't be able to see it probably much further away. Yeah, a copy of the book can be seen on the mantelpiece in the background of a shot of Norm and Jake. I didn't know that. Apparently when they came up with the name Hard Day's Night, that was then put forward to Walter Shenson, who was the producer, I believe. Apparently then Shenson called United Artists with the proposed title, which was then coolly received. Shenson suggested that they ask the secretaries and other young employees, who might be fans of the Beatles, what they thought of the proposed title. The suggestion worked, and the title was accepted. Oh, Pattie Boyd, who was previously married to Eric Clapton and George Harrison, was in this film. She apparently plays one of the schoolgirls on the train. She sits next to Paul and smiles and sings on I Should Have Known Better. Oh, she and George Harrison, who met during filming, married within 18 months. So even though she played a schoolgirl, she was actually 19. Yeah, I just didn't realise that one of those girls was George Harrison's future wife. So, aww. Reading about when Pattie Boyd first met George Harrison. It's so sweet. So she turned up to the train station on first impressions when the four boys appeared in front of them.
That's when I first met George.
She said, on first impressions, John seemed more cynical and harsh than the others. Ringo was the most endearing. Paul was cute. And George, with velvet brown eyes and dark chestnut hair, was the best looking man I had ever seen. At a break for lunch, I found myself sitting next to him. Being close to him was electrifying. That's so sweet.
The train stopped at Paddington Station and he said, oh, will you come out with me tonight? And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't. I've got a boyfriend.
Boyfriend? Okay, I didn't know she was actually with someone at the time. Oh, that's awful. Imagine girlfriend goes, does a bit of a like filming thing with a really popular band at the time, and then she comes back and she's got a date with one of the guys.
We're going out, but well, you're welcome to join us. Not what he wanted to hear at all.
Oh, right. Her boyfriend at the time was the photographer Eric Swain, and he was a decade her senior. Oh, and George Harrison was 21 years old, so only a little bit older than her. Oh, she still felt an obligation to Eric and declined the offer of dinner, suggesting they could all hang out together sometime. George didn't think so, so they went back to Paddington Station and then they headed their separate ways. So they didn't meet? Did they just suddenly meet up years later again? When Patty recalled the experience to a few friends the next day, they thought she was insane. You must be out of your mind. Turn the chance down with going out with George Harrison. It would have been such an adventure. It sounds like what a lot of people would say back in those days. I love the way people were, oh, let's. Please, it's such an adventure. Anyway, it says, you've got to go. After being thoroughly convinced by her friend's plea, she now had to solve the Eric problem. He might have sensed what was coming. When I told photographer David Bailey about the film job, he predicted I would fall in love with Paul McCartney and had told Eric he'd be left on his own. But hang on, she knew the photographer David Bailey. Was she more well known than I thought? Because apparently she wasn't in the world of acting at the time. So I just assumed that she was just a random young girl that decided, okay, let's go along for a bit of fun and do some filming. Haha. I didn't realise she knew specific people in the industry.
I started modelling when I was about 18, 19. And occasionally I would do some TV commercials. Anyway, one day I was doing a job, I think it was for Bailey, and my agent phoned and said that I had an interview with somebody else. So I went along and I recognised the director, Dick Lester, who I'd done a commercial with. And so I imagined this is what the interview was all about. But it wasn't. It was to get, in fact, I got the part of a schoolgirl in the Beatles' first film, Hard Day's Night.
10 days later, she was set to do a press photo call at Twickenham Studios to finish up her obligations for Hard Day's Night. She was doubtful that George would ask her out again, but she still held out a tiny bit of hope. The task of filming that day was for each of the girls, dressed again in their school uniforms, to stand behind a Beatle and pretend to do the boy's hair. When the instructions were given, Patty immediately ran to George. He asked how her boyfriend was doing, and she said she dumped him. He smiled and asked if she'd like to have dinner with him that night. That's how they got together, met, and that's where life went from there, yeah. It says later that night they dined at the Garrett Club in Covent Garden. Anyway, shall we get back to A Hard Day's Night trivia? I mean, that kind of was a bit of A Hard Day's Night trivia, but that felt more linked to Hard Day's Night. Yes, this line is one of my favourites in the film, is the whole, are you a mod or a rocker? No, I'm a mocker.
Are you a mod or a rocker?
No, I'm a mocker.
Which do you prefer, mods or rockers?
Don't know. I like any of them. Mockers, I like. I think they're the best. No real preferences.
Love that. Apparently, Ringo originally coined the quip during an appearance on Ready, Steady, Go.
Do you think you're a mod? Do you know what a mod is, Ringo?
No, I'm not a mod. Or a rocker.
You're nothing?
No.
No.
I'm a mocker.
Really?
Oh, you know that shot I said looked really good? The one where the light shines right into the camera lens. And then it goes around. It does take a little bit too long in the light, so it is very difficult to see Paul McCartney. But then it goes behind him, get that lovely silhouette shot, or almost silhouette shot. Apparently when Sir Paul McCartney is singing And I Love Her, the camera pans round and it picks up an arc light that flashes straight into the lens. United Artists executives reviewing the dailies and certain the shot had to be a mistake, asked producer Walter Shenson if he was aware of it. Shenson replied, it had taken them all morning to get it like that. The fact that, and this often happens, the shots that you really plan really well and in so much detail, they look good, but then they just usually don't make the cut, which is funny. And then shots that you don't really plan but they look amazing, or they work really well for what you want but they're not planned, then they stay. Going back to the whole thing at the beginning of the film where they stumble and fall and they rip the outfit that they're wearing, apparently John looks back and hesitates for a moment before continuing to run. I don't know if it's the reason why, but apparently the lead person behind, when they look back, is a tall blonde in a three-piece suit and a Mac who had been running close to the wall, moves to the side of the sidewalk, throws both arms straight out to block the kids behind him and yells, "Stop!" The other kids stop just long enough for George and Ringo to regain their footing and start running again. So presumably if they hadn't done that, they would have completely bombarded them, would have ruined the filming take probably. I mean, even that kind of in some ways ruins it with the whole stop thing. You'd ask if they were okay and wanted help. Speaking of ad-libs, because I know I mentioned it at some point in the film, and I said I wonder how much of this film was ad-libbed. I said improvised, but still, ad-lib is kind of what I meant. Screenwriter Alan Owen claims that the only Beatle who ad-libbed was John Lennon, but actually all four members of the Beatles sparked one another's imaginations and improvised. So there we go. They did actually improvise during the film. I felt like they did because it felt too natural at times.
The lines seemed ad-libbed, but they weren't. That's one of the reasons Owen's script works so well. Incidentally, that so-called ad-libbed script was nominated for an Academy Award.
The script was very cleverly written so that there was never a time where any one person had too much to say before someone else said something. There were sound bites, one-line gags.
Ringo, what are you up to? Page 5.
Or a little speech which could be cut away from.
Control yourself, you'll spurt.
There was never a case where you felt that the page of dialogue had to be produced by any of these four non-actors.
I mean, the person who could handle more than that was John Lennon. I mean, in fact, in the film there were probably about 12 ad-libs, and all of them are John.
It looked as if it was absolutely all off the cuff, but in fact, it wasn't.
Okay, so the train scene, apparently the Beatles chasing them into the train at the beginning of the film were actually real fans. I know I said to you about, I wonder if they actually got real fans for that, and apparently they were. How did I not see this? I mean, I suppose I wouldn't have really put two and two together. They were trying to make a reference of Steptoe and Son. Apparently, the constant mention of the grandfather being very clean.
He's a nice old man, isn't he? He's very clean.
And in the end, I just kind of passed over it as it was a little bit of a funny nickname that everybody just seems to keep giving him.
Clean though, isn't he?
Oh, he's very clean.
The reason for those references of being very clean for Wilfrid Brambell was because he was playing a rag and bone man in Steptoe and Son, featuring the catchphrase, "You dirty old man."
Oh, you dirty old man. Dirty old man.
That's the reason why. Norm and Shake are loosely based on the real-life Beatles managers for the road, Neil Aspinall and Mal Evans. Oh, that's so heartbreaking. I didn't realise this. John Lennon's, this is a beautifully touching inclusion in the film. John Lennon and Sir Paul McCartney's mothers were mentioned in the movie, the implication being that they were still alive. Paul's mother, Mary Moen McCartney, died when he was 14, and John's mother, Julia Lennon, died when he was 17. That's heartbreaking, but really lovely though that they had the inclusion, you know, as if they were alive in the world of the film. Apparently the sequence was cut from the film, but in the You Can't Do That number that was meant to appear, a young Phil Collins appeared in the audience.
When I saw A Hard Day's Night for the first time, one thing I could never figure out was what happened to one of the songs they did the day I was at the filming. I thought that maybe I'd just counted wrong, but when the soundtrack album came out, there it was, right on the record. I always wonder why You Can't Do That was cut out of the film.
You Can't Do That was one of, I think, 6 or 7 songs which we recorded in the theatre, which became the television scenes. And we just felt that we had too many songs.
That would have been awesome to see. That's amazing. Apparently the camera's 360-degree pan around Sir Paul McCartney during his performance of And I Love Her was achieved by dangling the camera from strings marionette style and moving it in a circle around McCartney. Basically meaning they had it like this on, like puppet strings. You know, those, I believe it's the cross type things above it with strings on them, dangling. That's how they do it. It's either one big cross or they have it as like 2 crosses, etc. And then they use them hand in hand or as one big thing. That's like the marionette style. That must have been so heavy to have a camera on something like that. But hey, I suppose it's a bit like a steady cam in some ways. Oscar-nominated actress Charlotte Rampling's theatrical movie debut. She appears as one of the dancers in The Disco Club. Another dancer in the club scene is Jeremy Lloyd, who later created the BBC sitcoms Are You Being Served and Allo Allo from 1982. It was reported in contemporary press cuttings that 15 minutes were later cut from the movie, including scenes involving a London double-decker bus. The Beatles autographed the ceiling of the bus, which was, by that time, privately owned by Tim Lewis of Twickenham. In 1987, David Thrower purchased the bus in a dilapidated condition from Wicksteed Park, Kettering, and is now fully restored to the condition it was in when used in the movie, though unfortunately the signatures of the Beatles on the ceiling are long gone. Wow, imagine that though. It's completely dilapidated and you find out that the signatures of these world famous singers, some of the biggest singers, are just gone, have disappeared from it because of it being dilapidated. And that must be so heart-wrenching. But I can't salvage it. I can either just get rid of it and clean it up and stuff, or just leave it there and for that bit to be dilapidated still, but you wouldn't see it because it's wrecked. I did not know this. Apparently the word Beatles is never mentioned in dialogue throughout the whole film. Yeah, I don't think it is. I thought maybe one of the managers would have said it at some point, or the choreographer guy, or the studio guy might have said it, but no, he said their names individually, but he never said the Beatles or Beatles. When shooting began, the Beatles had not yet joined Equity, the British Actors Union. They were hastily inducted on the set, with Wilfrid Brambell proposing their membership and Norman Rossington seconding the motion. So if it wasn't for Wilfrid Brambell, then they wouldn't be in the Actors Union. I suppose they could have got someone else to do it, but big thanks to Wilfrid Brambell. I did wonder, apparently the church in the background of the scene when the guy is breaking into the car is a church that was in ruins from World War II, 20 years prior to the film. I did think that. John Lennon's line, "She looks more like him than I do," was dubbed in after shooting. Oh no! I thought it was just a bit of wardrobe they gave him. You know the woolly sweater that the guy was wearing? Television director, who the actor's name is Victor Spinetti. That was his own sweater. I feel terrible. I thought it was just part of the character. I didn't realise it was his own. It was given to him as a gift. He later gave it to a fan club that had asked him for it. So they even have obviously ad-libbed lines in there about the sweater that they say, which is funny. Oh, I said about the whole, I don't know if I said it or if I was thinking it in my head, but the gambling club scene reminded me of Bond. like Casino Royale, that kind of thing. And apparently the same club where James Bond makes his first appearance in Dr. No 1962 is the Le Cercle gambling club from this film. This movie and Dr. No were released by United Artists. What? I so hope I said it, because I sometimes have these thoughts and I go, no, I should just concentrate on the film and stop talking, blah, blah, blah. There. He's got the lady and everything. But I sometimes say these for good reason, because it's popped into my head as a thing, and then if I do this and say it later, then people are going to be like, you didn't think that, did you? You're just making it up. I kept thinking it was like that scene in Bond. And that is the only scene I've seen. Again, like I've said before to you guys, at some point on the channel, I would love to watch the old Bond films. I've seen the new stuff with Daniel Craig, but I've never seen an old Bond film. I've seen clips, but I've never seen them in full. That's so cool though, that it was the same club. So this was the first Beatles theatrical movie, as we know, but it also happens to be their only movie filmed in black and white. I've got to admit, I don't remember seeing scenes with Beatles smoking. Apparently here it says, some of the Beatles were shown smoking, which was shocking to American audiences. While the Beatles had grown up in tough working class situations where smoking was common among youth, the band had been marketed to Americans as being cute, sweet, harmless mop tops who loved to wear matching outfits and joke around, which was kind of how we all perceived them as anyway. This was important because their long hair was seen by conservative Americans as being dangerously radical. When Lester filmed the boys smoking, he had not considered the impact on American conservatives. Even Elvis Presley, who shocked audiences in the late 1950s, was never shown to be smoking in the early days, as it would have criminal inferences. That's so interesting. So, what? I know why. Because I know things were a lot stricter and a lot different back then with the way that people thought about people smoking and people doing this and that. I can see why they might think that. Apparently when this film appeared in theatres, the screaming of the teens in the audience during the musical sections was just as deafening as in live performances. Holy hell. Imagine being in the cinema in the next theatre along. It's a horror film or something, and you're there like tensed at the edge of your seat, and then all of a sudden you hear from next door. You probably run out of the cinema screaming your head off. Yes, I knew it. The scene in the film with the train. You remember I said that John was holding the bottle of drink of Pepsi, supposedly, apparently it was Pepsi, but I thought it was cola that he was, and there's a specific brand of cola that he was holding. And in that specific shot, he's doing that to it. It appears, people say it appears that he's performing a nasal inhaler sight gag. But a few seconds later, he repeats the sniffing action with the other hand and nostril, and it's meant to be what we think. It's meant to be a little funny haha, as if he's snorting something else, because it's Coca-Cola, because it's the brand Coke, isn't it? Even though it wasn't a Coke, it was actually a Pepsi. But yeah, I did wonder if that's what it was meant to be, and it was only there really briefly. You get what I mean. Wow. The concert sequence at the end of the film was filmed entirely in one very hectic day with multiple cameras. At one point, it was the sheer stress of filming under such conditions that a member of the camera crew realised that it had caused a crack in one of his teeth.
In amongst the girls in the crowd, and at the end of 4 days shooting, had to be taken in an emergency car to his dentist because all his back teeth had come loose from the intensity of the sound.
It was driving me mad. I took a bottle of aspirin almost because, still got to carry on shooting. And I went to the dentist and he said, "There's nothing wrong with the tooth." And I said, "Well, there is." I said, "Because it's aching." I said, "Take it out." He reckoned that it was to do with vibration and frequency, something to do with the amalgam vibrating inside your mouth.
How does that happen? It was this that convinced cameraman Gilbert Taylor to turn down the offer to work with the Beatles again on Help, 1965.
Editor Marty here. One last bit of info about this concert performance at the end with all of the audience in the room. Apparently this was filmed in London's Scala Theatre. The performance took place in front of their real fans, 350 of them, each of whom was paid a standard union fee for their appearance. Yeah, that was a bit of info I found out on the Beatles Bible. Anyway, back to the video.
The girl sitting with John Lennon in the disco party scene is Adina Renee, the daughter of Egon Renee. She is also, though, the model on the poster in the grotty shirt scene.
Only Susan Canby, our resident teenager.
She's now well known for her high-end designer handmade knitwear. Definitely not grotty. Okay, last but not least, this will be the last fact. I've scrolled through quite a few more. Apologies if there's something that you wanted me to read out that I didn't, but I've read through a lot of these and tried to weed out some of the not so great ones and try and grab some of the really good ones. But this one I thought was a little bit interesting. You know the scene where the policeman finds Ringo at the riverbank and he rides past him on the bike and Ringo calls out to him, "Southerner!" This was in reference to the officer's local home county's accent, which would be instantly recognisable to a Liverpool native and northerner. But yeah, there is a ton more trivia. Please feel free to go and check out all of that stuff for yourself. Hopefully you've really enjoyed this video and also this trivia section as well. As always, I try to include as much as possible in these, both from my end recording these and also then in the editing stages by adding additional clips and info and pictures and things to go along with it, or bits of audio if I find it about certain things, or add in little bits, etc. So I hope you've really found it interesting and educational and entertaining.
Some were behind the stage shooting back into the audience, and it became very much more a haphazard style of filmmaking.
I say educational because these kind of things to me are quite educational as they are. So if they are to me, they might be to you guys as well. It's helping you learn a bit more about one of your favourite films and one of your favourite bands maybe. But I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for getting this far. And I keep trying to think of a word in my head that I can say to you guys as a little secret word, because what I tend to do is with my films, sometimes I say, okay, here's a secret word. Pop it down in the comments if you've got this far in the video, and then at least it's a secret, a word that I will know what it means, but no one else will. So unless people have seen it all the way to the end, they won't know what that word specifically means, but it's a little secret word between me and you so that I'll know. So I think maybe the best term that I could probably give you guys to say as a word to put in the comments is Beatlemania. That is probably a great one because you could just be saying that in general. Wow, Beatlemania. Oh, and if you don't want to say Beatlemania, then what about very clean? Perfect. So you can either have the phrase very clean or Beatlemania, whichever you would prefer. I really appreciate you guys being here. It's been a wonderful film and really lovely little time finding out all these deep dive pieces of information which have taken me down so much of a rabbit hole, which is funny that I say that I've only gone through so many sort of trivia pieces for this, and scrolling back up it doesn't look like a lot, but then at the same time almost every piece of information that I found I've then done extra bits of research on and gone down even more of a rabbit hole, so there is a lot more there. So I hope you really enjoyed this. And if you do like this kind of thing, then consider, if you'd love to, I'm going to be watching the other Beatles films. If you'd love to subscribe to the channel, you can see those when they do come out. I'm going to be watching loads more, as per usual, of classic films. If you look on the channel, you'll see that I have been doing quite a few of, and just great films in general. I have a ton on a list. If you'd like to see that list, you can see it over on the Patreon page. It's just there pinned at the top of my page, and anyone can see that. So you can see the films that I've got coming and other things that I'm working on, because it's listed as things I've watched yet not edited, or it's requested films, or you can see the whole suggestions list. There's a lot. See what you think. But whilst you're over there on the Patreon page, if you'd like to become a Patreon member, then you get access to the uncuts. You also get access to the early accesses over there. If you did like this kind of video, then consider clicking the like button as well. Obviously, if you didn't, then you don't have to. Thanks so much for watching. Have an amazing day, guys. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
If you're still here to the very end, then thank you so much, and also a huge thank you to my wonderful patrons: Roger C. Griffith, Douglas Collier, Terry V, Miggy Love, Chris Holmes, Jojo, Thomas Masters, Shoehorn1234, Res, Patrick Durr, Andrew Blount, Carlos, Marla Mize, Rob, Chandra Blair, Scott, Paul Zawicki, Randy, Kirsten, Juan Pablo Camero, JL, Maggie, Freya Alexandra, Milo, Miranda, Edna, Gina Aman, Tess Avaland, Olivia, Maria Stoicheva, Neno, Megan Janoviak, Rainy Tomo, Strawberry Tree, Kirsten Bailey, Boobly Boo, Louise Vanderhoven, Aubrey Terry, Wraithist, Heidi Steele, City D, Bumblebee, Joshua, Jesse, Rena Burrow, Meet, Lolita Verbakovskia, Eli, Holly Jeffries, Alenka Hafner, HM Garth, Chloe Grover, Neb, Kyle Baker, Abby Barker, Tom Tattershall, Kristen Olds, Tiddychum, Laura Hutchison, Tara M. Wilcoxon, Sazzy Nation, Ferdinand Pitchard, Jim McKay, Sphere, Mel Days, Fran in the Pen, BG, Tara, Rags and Muffins, Nameless Human Being, Deb, Philippa Chapman, Emily, Panda, David Wayne Fox, Jessica Asakovich, Sue Pro, Naja in Workshop, Mike Tunnicliffe, Wolfgang Wolf, Lee, Harvey, Anka May, Aninya, Evan G, Violet Aurora, Pamela Chandler Rash, Scott Howard, Joshua, Robert Williams, Steve Webster, Amanda, Lipaz, Jamie Dodds, and King. If you'd like to see more videos, there's some more on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you next time.